listeners, and welcome to Alumni Voices, the podcast where we dive into the fascinating journeys of graduates from the English school Nicosia. Join us as we explore the diverse careers, unique experiences, and personal stories of our esteemed alumni. Each episode offers insights and inspiration, connecting you with a vibrant community of achievers who have made their mark around the world. So tune into Alumni Voices and discover how the English school has shaped the lives and successes of its graduates. And today we have the privilege of sitting down with Andreas Mavrides. Welcome. Would you prefer Doctor or Andreas or Mr. Mavrides? How do you
Andreas.
Andreas is
yes, it's fine. Okay. It's fine. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. So Andreas is a distinguished obstetrician and a gynaecologist, a fertility specialist, advanced laparoscopic surgeon, astute businessman. And from the early beginnings of our very own English school, Nicosia, to graduating class of 1989, he holds a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery from the University of London, Master of Medicine, Assisted Reproduction from University of Nottingham to Lecturer and Research Fellow at the Reproductive Unit, Hammersmith Hospital, Special Registrar at the London Deanery, and a Senior Registrar at St George's Hospital in London. And in 2009, he established a thriving medical practice here in Cyprus dedicated to state-of-the-art fertility treatment, maternity and women's health. Andreas embodies the spirit of innovation and compassion. But that's not all. He's also giving back to the institution that shaped his path by generously providing scholarships for aspiring students. Join us for this podcast as we delve into Andreas Mavrides' inspiring journey. In part one, we uncover the secrets to his success and the driving force behind his dedication to healthcare. And in part two, we explore his philanthropic motivations behind the school donations and his aspirations for the deserving recipients. Andreas, thank you for your time today, and I hope we're not keeping you from delivering any babies. I would not like to be on the receiving end of the wrath of any mother-to-be. Anyway, so you're now the owner of a thriving fertility and maternity clinic in 2 locations in Cyprus and proud father of 4.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I'm guessing a very beautifully and supportive wife in that mix. Of course. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump in and head down memory lane. Can you share some of your favorite memories of your time at school, both negative and positive?
Yes. Basically, the school as we had it, it's been as it is now, the school. The meaning, the mentality, the community. The number one thing I think with the English school is we have a very strong community that stays there throughout. You don't appreciate it at the time. And looking back, you realize how strong that bond is. So I can think of a few moments, good moments, not so good moments, various funny moments, and it's all those the little things that you think back and jog your memory, and you have this good feeling of the community. And then, as it is in Cyprus, we are a small community, and we know most of the people each other. And growing up, you realize that people don't change. They're there. You see them how they develop, but you realize that the characters and the personalities don't change, and they've been like that. And it's an amazing feeling to see how this bond stays on. Right. You go away, you do your thing, you do your own thing, you study, you train, you spend lots of years abroad that many of us do, and then you come back and and all the stories keep coming back to those years, being a teenager. So there are no specific moments, but I do remember this tightness, the little break times, the jokes we told each other, the interactions of teachers, the younger students, the older students at times. So it was a strong community. At the time, we didn't have. Okay, but we all know that things were different. We didn't have the social media. We didn't have that accessible interaction all the time. So all we had is each other. All we had was the stories, and you had to make the most out of it.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to, or how would, you've got young children now, do you think that their friendships are going to be as strong as yours were? Their world is completely different to ours when we're at school with the social media and the bonds that you make with people. Do you think it would be different when they are our age?
Yeah, I think about that a lot, actually. Yeah. And I wonder, the digital world and all these social media and the way they interact, I think we're growing up, it's the new development. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's part of our life. We try to teach them and explain to them that the friendships should be deeper, and I always explain all these things that I said, that people don't change, and it's deep down whatever one is and how they behave, that's who they are. And we try to teach them the juice of life, the true meaning of life, which is not very complicated. It's just a few basic things, genuine friendships, honesty, and hard work. And this is what it's about. So I think, all in all, I think there will be, because I see them now, I have different ages, the kids at school. And I see this bond and the community development in a different version, but it's still there. So I think the concept is there. Mm-hmm. The same way, in our days, things were different to 20 years before 30 years before, but we don't realize it. And that's how, I think that's part of the evolution of life. It's just nowadays, all these changes, the digital world is very recent, and we are trying to accept it. Mm-hmm. And as parents and more grown-ups, we have more difficulty understanding how it incorporates with us. So the kids have grown into this, but I think deep down the community is there.
It's still the same.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, so how do you feel it's shaped your future, your time at the ES school? Did you have a goal when you were there? Yes,
I did have a goal as far as the future was concerned. As I said, at the times we didn't have a lot of. We had a lot of free time, though. We didn't have all our time occupied. We didn't have a social schedule outlined all the time.
Right.
You finished school, you went home. You had to do your studies, whatever you had to do. I was more of a science person, so there wasn't much, lots and lots of hours as far as that is concerned. But I remember I used to be bored a lot.
Oh, really?
Yes, the free time. And that's how it was. We were designed to be bored. And I remember, and I asked my friends and my schoolmates now that it was the same thing. Summer was quite long. Mm-hmm. The break times, the Easter, Christmas holidays, they were long holidays. You didn't have many things to do. You didn't have a regular family scheduled, all the time family holiday. So things were much simpler. You had more time. So all we had was our thoughts.
Yeah, right.
You're thinking the future.
Wow.
Thinking about, I'm finishing, I'm graduating in 3-4 years. I've got my national service another 2 years. That was then. Mm-hmm. And then you start thinking what you will be doing more or less. But I did have a plan. Okay, my father was a doctor, a gynaecologist. We grew up in the clinic, in that environment. I couldn't think of anything else. I never consciously thought of deciding what to do or not to do. So, and I couldn't think of anything else to be done. So it was part of growing up in my
path that you naturally followed.
Yes, and then when I went for studies, I thought, is this what I actually want? And then I couldn't think of anything else. And that was it. So, and most of us did have plans, maybe not as clear or clear direction, and that's what we did. So I did have the plans. Now, whether the school has helped me, the school builds character. It builds. It gives you structure, and it gives you the tools on the way to tackle things in life, and how to how to study, how to organize yourself. So it's very important for any establishment for that matter, the school at the moment. There has to be organization, there has to be structure. At the time, you don't appreciate it, but it's only afterwards, as with most things. It's only looking back that you appreciate the advice you get. The support from teachers was great. As we said, the community, the support from students, usually the older students. This is what the school does for you, I think.
Wow. Could you share some? You already spoke before about you went into gynecology because that was your father's business as well, etc. So it was more of a following his path or a natural path rather than saying, "Oh, this is something that really interests me and I want to explore more." So it was okay. So can you share some insights into your approach to running your own medical practice? I mean, I guess there are two paths. You can work for somebody else or you can go out by yourself. Where was the decision changing point for you on that?
Okay. In the UK, I worked for the NHS. Okay. So there was a good structure. You had to follow protocols. You had to follow the hierarchy, the consultants, the junior doctors, the more junior doctors. So you had a plan, and I like that. I'm a structured person and thinker. In Cyprus, the mentality is not so much. It's a cultural thing. Right. We're a little bit more relaxed about things. We don't follow specific protocols. We don't have specific guidelines. So it's a matter of setting up your own environment. Okay. Now, so coming back from the UK, because I spent about 15 years in the UK studies and training, I thought to myself, I have to create my own environment. So that's what I did. So, I couldn't negotiate not setting up a practice the way I wanted, and that's what I did.
Wow. So the challenges you faced along the way of setting up the practice, you said there's not a lot of structure here at the time, or it's not culturally a typical thing to follow structures and stuff. Did you come up against many barriers as you were setting up your business, or did you find it?
Again, yes and no. Yes, we did have the main issue was to find other professionals, the paramedical professionals. For example, the simple things, the contractor, the way that you want the layout. You have to explain why you do that. You don't have specific consultants. Things are changing now, but at the time, 15 years ago, so it was different. You had to explain exactly why you want specific things and the layouts. That's a simple example. And then is to embed the mentality that you want, because when you're setting up these sort of practices, it's not a one-man show. Yes, you lead the team. So you have the medical part, which after all, that's the easy part, once you know it, medical part, you know exactly what to do, when to do it. It's one of the difficult parts is to transfer and transmit this sort of expectation and the level of care you want to provide to every single professional. So would that be the other doctors, the midwives, the nurses, the assistants, the embryologists, who are the laboratory people. So you have to set everything up, picking up the equipment. You don't have a lot of clinics here to go and have a look around and see firsthand. You have to do your research through the web now, through the different companies. You have to research every single choice. And I think we did a very good job after all, and it pays off. But the other thing is you have to be really, really organized. You have to, and you have to be clear on what you want, what targets you have, set up of the, all the protocols, both for the management of the business and the setup, but also, more importantly, the medical aspect. Even the anesthetists we're using. I'm cooperating with anesthetists that are trained in maternity and obstetric, because it's a subspecialty in the UK. Okay. So that's what they're saying. You cannot compromise anything. So if you look for the quality, you'll find it. And then you get rewarded because people and, patients and the clients, so to speak, or potential mothers, or people who want to get pregnant, or they want to have an operation, they will appreciate the quality and the level of medicine that you put into it. So, the beginning is difficult. As long as you have a clear vision exactly what you want to do, it will be done. And that would be one of my advice to people. Once you get the vision straight. If you don't know what you want, it's difficult to do it. So as long as you know exactly what you want, you have this clearly in your mind, then the logistics, you can have easy logistics, you can have more difficult logistics, but you'll reach your target.
That's a really good piece of advice to pass on to any sort of graduate or prospective business student that we have at the moment, getting your vision straight first. So, and it appears that you have oversight of all of the business. So it's like you've got your own master of businesses on top of your sort of medical side as well, because of your oversight. Is that driven by your vision? It's like, well, this is my vision, so I need to go and learn how to do this, so therefore I can make it the best that I want it to be.
Yes, exactly. And that's how it starts. When you start and set up, you're the one person there managing everybody. So when you're smaller, you can deal with all these things, and you keep and when you keep growing, then the individuals that you have as employees, they become small departments and they grow. So it's important to set up whatever you have to set up in the beginning, and then you put your visions, as we said, straight, and then again, you don't compromise on the quality. If you want it, you have to be a little bit stubborn about it, and you say, that's how I want it, because I want the quality and the outcome. Even the receptionists, the way they answer the phone calls, or how they book appointments, these kind of things. So it's the little things, and you build up this. And then as you go along, of course, you can't do everything every single time. You guide the key people, and then each department grows, and you've implanted the idea and the way of thinking. So now we're at the stage where even if I have to employ somebody, it can be done, and the requirements are the same as I used to have them 15 years ago when you started. So you create a system that keeps on going, but you have to keep checking on that quality, the quality controls.
I was going to say quality control. That's amazing that you start that right from the very beginning and create that as literally as a footprint. And then, like you say, if you inject that right from the beginning, as the business grows, each person comes on board. That they embody that. Amazing. Okay, so in regards to the Andreas Mavrides scholarships, please tell me a little bit about this. What motivated you to give back, and what are your expectations of the scholarships once the students have accepted them?
The scholarship, to start off with, I never thought of, I didn't start off thinking about the scholarship. I thought, I felt this need. I don't know why. I felt this need to help the school, give something back to the school. Because after quite a few years, you come back, you establish yourself, you do well, touch wood, and you feel you owe the school. I cannot pinpoint exactly what it is, but I feel it's part of growing up. And in the 80s, things were a bit different, and I found the school that it gave me this structure, this organization, this discipline, and it also guided and believed in me, so to speak. And that's how I had this need of helping out the school. And I've tried through various ways, and I did. I got involved with the Parents Association as well. And then I thought, let's take it a step further, and let's help students, maybe one student, maybe. And I had a chat with the school and see how we can best do it. And that's what we did. So I have this need in myself, not need, it's just this urge of helping somebody. And the plan is to further grow this scholarship. And it should be to somebody who would appreciate this.
The support. Interesting. I was listening to a podcast about an Indian guru who said that our lives are separated into quarters, and the third quarter, being 50 plus, is the time when you naturally want to give back as a human being. When you look at human beings over the whole of our lifespan since we've been around, that is the time when you want to give back. So it's almost like it's built in us. Yes. It's not something that we go searching for, like you said. And it's interesting that you've sort of said you don't know where it came from. It's just you get to that. I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming we're similar sort of age.
Third quarter, when I reach it,
when I get
there, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, you're not quite there. Maybe you're just a little premature. That's it. I'm saying we because I'm obviously there, but yeah, and it is. It just becomes a natural thing. And the more and more people that I talk to that of my generation getting to this point, it's like, this need to sort of say thank you back to the school. So at the moment, the scholarships are working. This year is the first year.
Yes, I think from coming September.
This September, and then there's going to be one each year.
Yes, the scholarship is basically a year two student. Okay, so a year one student will get assessed. The school will decide in discussion with us. They have to have academic excellence and also they don't have to be the number one in the class. There are some criteria that we have with the school. And they have to maintain it, and it's going to be for every year until they graduate.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but they have to perform.
Right.
They have to have the ethos in order to maintain the scholarship.
It each year in order to until they
graduate.
Scholarship
towards the fees, basically. Yes.
Amazing. Do you have any say in who gets awarded?
No, I prefer not to do it, to start off with. I want to be completely impartial. I want the school to decide. At some point, we may discuss a way of people applying for it as students, but it's something we'll discuss with the school. But I emphasize that from the beginning.
Right.
I don't want to, at this stage, be the one to decide or be part of the decision process. It has to be, I think it's better this way to be impartial.
Yeah, I guess you've got personal bias there as well, haven't you? You know, somebody that's in the coming to the medical field or, that kind of thing. And okay. Great. So, as we're talking, go back to the business, your business, how do you balance your role as a practitioner, philanthropist, businessman, husband and father? Because there's a lot of plates you're spinning there, and your children are teenagers as well. And so that's the time when they're craving your attention but don't want you around. There must be so many things that you're balancing right now.
It's a very good question. I've been asked this quite a few times. Oh, doctor, how can you, when do you go home? Again, it boils down, I'm afraid, to being organized, have more and more, deal with the logistics, because it's not just medicine. Yes, the medicine is there. If you don't control the things that you can schedule, then you're all over the place, and you hear a lot of stories, and that's where you get a lot of negative feelings or publicity of somebody being a doctor. Oh, you're never home. You don't have time to do it. Yes. From the beginning, as I went through the life of a doctor, or my father being a doctor, the family being a doctor, and at those times, as I said, things were different. My father was a different personality. So I used the social part as a guide of what not to do myself afterwards. But that's how it was then. It was post-war. People were insecure. So I had it in my mind. I mean, from a young age, I remember that yes, I want to spend time with my future family. Wow. I want to structure my work and organize my work. I want to have partners, medical partners, so we cover each other, and that's the right thing to do in any case. So it's all about organization, finding the right professionals to work with, other doctors of equal caliber that you can trust and cover you when needed. And then, and also good communication with patients, explain, look, I'll be away for 5 days. My colleague is covering, you can meet him here. And people do like that.
Right.
Okay. It was a belief quite a few years ago. Still, some people falsely believe that people will get really upset. Patients will get really upset if you're away, and they're afraid to organize their time and get some time off. But if you look after yourself, look after your family, then you are a better professional. That's how I see it. Yes, so it's not easy. Okay. You do have your days, but as long as you have some specific days and activities with the family, when they grow up, they really appreciate it. And yes, if you do your holidays, your family holidays, and you spend quality time. So it's not just the time you spend with the family, it's how you spend it, the quality. You might spend 1 hour with the family, you chat and you engage with them. Or you could be for 5 hours at home and have no communication. It's even worse. So it's the quality of it. That's what they appreciate as they grow older. They say that to me. My daughter wants to be a doctor. She's been accepted actually to UK University.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
So, and one thing when she was doing her voluntary work and the clinical experience in various hospitals, a lot of doctors said, "Oh, why do you want to be a doctor? You're never home." And she was wondering why people were saying that. And I felt proud of that. I didn't say anything. I felt, well, that's a success for me. If my daughter feels that I've never experienced the lack of my father being around, and out of everything, I think that's the most difficult thing. I don't know why people are saying that. They appreciate the hard work, but as long as you have some quality time. So it's a matter of being organized, have structure, organize your social work, and yes, it's just to strike the right balance.
I'm conscious of you in my mind's eye. I can see you as a student, sort of 16, 17, with this mature mindset that you've already been thinking through all these things and making a clear strategy about what your father did and what you were not going to do and how you were going to do it. It sounds like a very mature head on those very young shoulders.
I was pretty mature, until a certain age, halfway. Lower school was pretty mature, a bit sort of rebellious in the first few years, and then silly things, nothing serious. But and then you realize as you grow up during school. It's what I always said, you're getting organized. So, yes, I thought a lot about the future. And I remember I couldn't wait to go and study. Why? Not because of going to study. It's just you're really anticipating the next step in life. I'm sure it's the same thing now. And I remember the feeling as soon as I went to London, for studies. I felt so, so liberated. It was so different. You left from Cyprus, you went to London, big city, but then again, you felt all this power inside you. And yes, and that's and you carry that momentum as you go along. But again, I can't stress enough the organization and the structure and everything. And a lot of people, even established business, you see a lot of business might fail because of the lack of organization or not perform as well. And the punctuality, all these things are little things, but are important. I think that the backbone of any healthy either business or way of working.
Big takeaway there. Less time on social media and more time planning your life. for any high school graduates that are listening to this. Okay, so to wrap up this segment, looking ahead, what are your goals or aspirations for the future, both professionally and personally?
The goals, I've set up the footprint, as you said it, developed it. I want to expand more. There's a lot of international patients that they want to come to Cyprus because they do a lot of fertility work. We're getting into the digital world these days. You have to be super efficient, super responsive with everything. So it's a matter of developing and keeping up with the times and with the technology and the way of service. So yes, it's further developing, fine-tuning the services, keep improving the success rates. For example, fertility will keep on climbing with the pregnancy rates and the new techniques. There's lots and lots of stuff. There's staggering developments, yes, in that field.
Okay, so what advice would you give to aspiring graduates considering a career in medicine?
Okay. I know everybody says, oh, it's so tough, it's so difficult. By the way, I'm a very optimistic type of person. Okay, I make things look easy. That's how I am. Okay. I see always the positive side of things. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is tough. The road to either success or anything that you really want to achieve is tough. There's no easy way in life. The sooner people realize that, the better it is. That's my advice to students, and that's my advice not just for medicine, but for anything. It's a difficult road. It's a tough road. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow it. It's full of mistakes, but it's good. That's how you learn. You only learn from your mistakes. You don't learn from doing everything right. You only learn from your mistakes. I'm saying my advice is make the journey exciting. Don't think of the time that it takes. It takes a long time for anything to do. Medicine, it takes 5 years or 6 years, some courses, to do the course. It's an exciting course. Yes, it's hard. You have to be methodical. You have to be, again, organized. You have to study regularly. You don't leave any gaps, and you're fine. Afterwards, the training part, you're working. You're part of the system, you're working. Right. But you're a trainee in anything you do. If you're going to become an accountant or you're going to train in anything, you're a trainee at some point in life. You don't graduate in any course and you become a professional. Okay? You're a graduate, you're a trainee. You're the bottom of the food chain, so to speak, in a good way. Yeah. And then you work your way up. So it's unavoidable. You need about 10, 15 years in any profession to become an autonomous professional or a service provider in the field. So that's how I see medicine as well. I don't see it any different from anything else. Yeah. Yes, you deal with life and death situations. You deal with healthcare, but there's no room for mistakes, of course. But that's the nature of the job, and you get used to it. So make it an exciting journey. Make the mistakes, okay, not I was going to say, crucial within mistakes. Reasons, right? I mean, mistakes as in, yes, under supervision, these sort of things. And mistakes in decisions about career moves. Yeah, you just go for it and then you self-correct afterwards. In that sense, I mean it. You go for it, make it an exciting journey. And then it does pay off and become a great professional individual to offer back to society. And that's where you become a service provider. You're providing a service to the community. That's how I see it. You use the community with various systems, that being education, universities afterwards, training, gives you the tools, and it's your debt towards community to give back as a professional. I think that's how the cycle of life is. And specifically for medicine, because you need quite a bit of dedication for that part. I always say it's the best and the worst profession. It's the if you like it and you really fill it up with passion and do it with passion, as I think you should do everything, but specifically for medicine, it's the best job in the world. I really believe that. If you don't like it, because you have the hours of the training and the dedication, it's the worst profession, because you feel trapped in an environment that you don't really like. You shouldn't do medicine because you're good at science, at maths, or because somebody told you, or because your father was a doctor, not just because they told you should be a doctor. You have to feel it. You have to feel that you really want it. It has to be inside you. Okay, it's not easy. The question is, okay, how do you feel that, or how do you know that? Expose yourself to the profession. Go and do some work experience, or just an observation early in school, year 14, year 15. I get people coming at the clinic from year 13, 14, 15 years, and you find things to do. They don't have to be in the operating room. They can do simple tasks, just be around the environment, just get a taste of that. And it could be done for other professions as well, but specifically for medicine, you have to feel it. Some people really want it. Some people, it's the opposite. They don't want it. They know they don't want it. So you shouldn't push them. So that's the advice I give. So go and make it an exciting journey. And people and you shouldn't listen to the noise around you, the social noise, we call it sometimes. So somebody said, I think Bill Gates said that, before you win, people say, why do you work so hard?
Right.
Why do you need to work so hard? After you win, people say, oh, you're so lucky. So,
that's very true, actually, when you think about it. Yeah.
You work hard for a reason. And I remember when I was doing my training in London, it was tough, long hours. All my friends were back home. They were working, they were earning, they were, going out. I didn't have that. And you feel you're lagging behind, but I knew what the end target is. You're going to become a professional, you're going to become independent, and it's going to be different. So as long as you have those clear targets. And also it's all about the life balance as well. You have to respect your family, your friends, and your work. It's these three things, the pillars of life. So if you strike the right balance with those and treat all of these three parts with respect, it's a guaranteed win, I think.
Yeah, nice. I did see something recently. We're talking about how the parameters from those three areas, they move depending on where you are in your life and the way that you're progressing. And, obviously you got more time with work and study when you're younger, and then the family comes in. So these three pillars are constantly changing in size as you sort of get older. And then the idea is that they're all balanced at some point, right? That's your kind of goal.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So while we're talking about giving advice, you mentioned earlier that your daughter's been just accepted to medical school.
Yes.
Are you hoping all of your children are going to follow you, or was it a natural progression?
My daughter, specifically from the age of 10, she was saying, I want to become a doctor. Okay. Now, my concern as a father and a doctor, being in the profession, growing up in the profession, my concern was that I don't want any of my children to become doctors because I am a doctor, or because your parent is a role model. Not just because of that. I made it very clear and was trying over the years from young. I said, look, it's what we said. It's the best and the worst. You really have to like it. And, she persevered with the thought. She was very clear what she wanted.
Really?
I said, okay, what if you don't get accepted or you don't get an offer in the university? I'll take a year out and I'll try again. It's very committed.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what. She's clear about that. Now, my advice to other children, no, I've never said go and become doctors. They see, they are exposed to the environment. They know the positives, the negatives. We've explained all these things, and it's more important to me for them to do something that they really like. Whatever you do, if you put your passion in it and your heart in it, you do well. Whatever it is, from the simplest task to the most complicated task, you have to really want it. If you do it just because you feel like you have to do it, yes, there are a lot of things that you have to do in the logistics and in the process. Yes, so we're not saying that everything is all rosy and you have the tough decisions, the tough thing, and the things you don't want to do. Nobody wants to work a week of nights or all the weekends, but it has to be done. So not this. I'm talking about the overall profession. You have to like it.
Yeah, like we say, it's like almost a calling, isn't it? When you come across so many medical professionals, you look at the hours they put in and the time that they put in and the stuff they have to deal with. It's got to be a calling.
Yes.
Right? It has to be a calling.
And the hours afterward, when you finish your shift, when we work for the NHS, you work in shifts. And when you finish your shift, you need quite a few hours to switch off. You keep thinking of each case and what happened. So it's quite a task to be able to switch off as well. I mean, the beginning is tough. You have to train yourself into trying to switch off and leave work at work, and your quality time is your quality time. As I said, it makes you a better professional, being able to clarify. Yeah, you have to be able to switch into this.
Actually, that leads me into a question I was going to ask earlier, was that what advice would you give to somebody on how to separate your emotions? Because the field that you're in is an incredibly emotional field. And things go right and things also go wrong.
Yes.
Like in any medical field. How does a prospective person who wants to go into the medical industry, not get emotionally attached? How do you draw that line?
It's from all of the things we mentioned, I think this is one of the most difficult parts, the emotional part. It's difficult not to get on that level of emotion and get the emotions involved. You empathize, you show empathy. It's part of the pillars of being a doctor, of course. It's very tough to switch off completely. With time and experience, it gets easier.
Right.
But it's unavoidable not to have some sort of involvement, emotional mix-up. Yes, if you have a hard day or a really complicated surgery or a situation at work, yes, you might need a few hours. We're not machines. We can't completely switch off. Yes, the vast majority of the routine, yes, it becomes easier, and you have to. Otherwise, you'll go mad. If you think of everything all the time.
Absolutely.
You go mad. It is tough. It comes with time, and the other thing is good to talk about these things.
Right. It's important to share, right?
Yes,
how you're feeling and what you're going through.
I mean, mental health and all these issues, and there are systems in place at the moment and mechanisms to deal with, with training doctors but it's things you should talk with colleagues, and the way we're discussing this now would be nice if it was more common discussion between doctors and talking about each one and themselves. And you don't do it because in the hospitals you talk about the cases, the medicine and all that stuff. So it's good to discuss this and get advice from the more seniors and the students. It's good to ask these things. It's good to, and they do actually. They're more aware. We talk about the new generation, and we always think the previous generation is always better than the new generation, more mature. But it's not like that. They're very switched on these days, and they have a clear understanding. They might not understand they might not be as street smart, so to speak, but they have a deeper understanding of other things because they have access to all information. And they do ask these things, not my children only. I mean, I see other young people who are going for work experience. They do ask these questions. They get surprised. I never thought they would ask me. This is good that they do.
Yeah. There's an incredible level of self-awareness for young people nowadays, isn't it? Things that my kids say things to me, I was like, wow, I would never even realize that you could articulate that, let alone pose a question to me about this. It's fascinating how deep it goes with this self-awareness. So maybe that's not as big an issue as it used to be for our generation, where you just got on with it and moved on, right? So anyway, okay, well, in wrapping up, I'm just going to come back to a couple of questions about the scholarship program, if that's all right with you. So what's your ideal outcome for a student that follows this scholarship program all the way through to graduation and then on to university? What does that student look like for you? What does success look like for you?
To be honest, I don't have a clear expectation. I don't have a set expectation. I'm not expecting anything specifically. As I said, I'm regarding this as an offering of something back to the school via a student. But yes, I would like that person to have a clear plan. It might not be from the beginning, of course, but succeed in life. And by success, we don't mean to build a big company or to strike the right balance.
Right.
And hopefully the ultimate outcome would be to give back one day to the school and complete the cycle of the community and to society in general. So nothing specific, but I would like this mentality, and I would like them in the future to say, okay, I had some help from somebody, and this is what we should nurture and culture within the school and the alumni.
Nice. Okay. So in terms of the alumni as well, how do you see that in terms of the alumni giving back? And do you have any advice for any other alumni who want to get involved in a scholarship program?
The alumni is it's also known as the Old Boys and Girls Association. It used to be the Old Boys Association, and then when they had girls become the SOPCA. But yes, the alumni, up until now, it wasn't very well networked. And it's something we were discussing with the school the past few years, and I'm glad now that it's taking shape and it's being networked. And thank you for organizing all that. And I think it's very important. It's good to further strengthen the network, get the connections through. There are a lot more. It's a very big community. And as I said, we are in Cyprus, which is a small population, and that makes it even easier to network. A lot of people we don't know about are members of the alumni, and hopefully we'll get them officially members of this association. With the digital technology these days, it will make things easier as long as we do it properly, and then get them on board and think of ways of doing not exactly the same thing, but similar things. So if it happens quite a bit, and you have lots of other scholarships, awards at whichever level, and even having a talk, giving a talk to the students. It's also, and we do that as well, actually. Go to the school and have, whatever profession everybody is in. So you enrich the community. So the message is, yes, get on board. Let's discuss ways of doing it. And as long as there's a good organization with the school to be coordinated in the right way, I think it can further grow and it will be a good thing for the school as well and the community overall.
Amazing. Well, so in all the conversations that you and I have had, you've reiterated about this sense of community that the English school has, and it's incredible to see it. I was meeting with the Asopka team yesterday, and even talking to them, the community's there, and they're the generation before us. So, yeah, you're right. And I look forward to getting more involved with the school as time goes on. So thank you again for your time. And thank you, listeners, for your time too. So if you are listening to this and you are an English school alumni and you would like to share your story, please reach out to me on alumni@englishschool.ac.cy. And if you would like Andreas's professional assistance, you can find him at ICES Clinic. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.